Greetings, fellow traders. Bubba here. It's time for the lunchtime market update for Friday, September the 18th, 2020. I hope everybody's having a great trading day today. This is brought to you by Positive Trends Research. Everything we're going to talk about is for educational purposes only and not investment advice, so please take a moment to review this disclaimer. Awesome. Good. All right, let's check see where there are at the market here today. So quad witching day. So we're seeing some crazy stuff going on here today, of course, as happens to be the season of the quad witch. So down 14 points here on the SPX. And again, crazy week so far, right? Big upper shadow off the prior week's level. Huge. This level right here is very, very important. 3,400 is also very interesting as well. I was hoping that we'd tag that today, but we ended up being down a little bit here. Inside days so far, which is actually pretty interesting if we hold that going into next week, but we could see some shenanigans at the end of the day. So let's see how we finish. But if we come up inside that 3,400 area, it might the market might be working on another move down to kind of go with that zigzag pattern that we've been talking about. So we'll see how that goes there. Let's take a look at the intraday price action. Let's go to the SPY. So SPY so far, let's go back to the daily here and just double check the volume on this one here. SPY so far is still kind of climbing up here, halfway through the day. So I'm sure there'll be some more shenanigans here intraday. So a lot of great short opportunities on this one today. Right, failed. The reason is right. If you go, we'll look at the ES in a little bit, but we really failed to break out of that triangle going into the open and flushed off of it today. That really keyed us into looking at some shorts. So let's actually look at that here. This is one of the big areas, right, that we want to see. Right, if the bulls were going to step up this morning and get over these signal zones and over this triangle, they were going to have to push it right away. But because we pulled back so sharply into the open, we're like, all right, let's see how we handle the triangle area right here. Let's see how we handle the triangle right here, right? And then by the time we're halfway through here, we're looking for shorts, right? Because we're like, these bulls are not fighting this morning, right? This was where they needed to prove themselves. So after that, we're like, okay, what's the next level? Signal zone down, right? So we did get to the signal zone down right here, and we bounced off of that for a nice move. And then now we're in the lower signal zone, right? This is kind of your congestion area from yesterday, right, where we bounced, right? So we got the first bounce off that. And then once we broke through there, then we're looking for more short opportunities. So we found some good stuff in there as well. So we're rejecting the top of this zone right now. So prior support becoming resistance, and you can see we're actually moving down pretty fast right here. So let's see how it goes. This was a good dip buy here, by the way. I pointed out a trade on this one. The 333 calls on SPY, 79 cents at like over $1.22 in like 5 minutes, right? Really incredible stuff right there. Now we're below the triangle again. So this is looking interesting. I'm going to let it go right here. I'm not going to trade this one. We had a bunch of upper shadows at the top of the signal, so I'm going to wait for another possible retrace on that one to see how that goes here into the rest of the day. Let's take a look at the MES here and just check our geometric lines and see how those are going. So let's see. So we have the obviously the triangle from last night. That was kind of a big deal losing that one. At this point here, we got a nice bounce off of these lows. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to transfer this over and just see how we hold these lows here today. It's going to be a very, very key level, right? Because we got a big pivot off of that here off the last bounce. So if we get below there, right, watch out below, right? We've got a couple of signal zones here, and of course 3310 was the low of yesterday's pre-market levels on the ES and on the MES. So we'll keep an eye on those. I'll tell you what the Qs here this morning. So Qs generally pretty weak right here. This also keyed us into some short opportunities on Apple. Some other folks were short the Qs themselves. So great job on those. Again, it's still just kind of really, really weak relative weakness here today. Also seeing downside movement here after a rip at the open on the IWM as it's coming back and retesting its overnight triangle range. So we've got that going on there. So Apple, so we shorted this one this morning. A couple great opportunities on this one here. This was just one right from the open. We're like, hey, this thing's working its way down, right? So why do we think that? Well, we broke down our morning channel, right? So and we pulled into the open here pretty quickly with a nice reverse. So once we saw that, and we saw the market was giving up its gains this morning, the bulls couldn't hold. Apple was a perfect one, right? That really gave some nice setups into nice retraces, right? You can tag it right there for a nice move down, another retrace here for another move down, another retrace here for another move down. So great stuff here. It's actually working its way down here. This retrace itself, oh boy, this looks like I might have missed this one. So it is what we've had a good morning so far, so it's okay. But look at that. Oh wow, right at the 618 on Apple. Look at that, to the tick. Woo! I can't look at it. So anyway, let's move on to the next one. Tesla. Let's take a look here. So Tesla again, just kind of really just chopping here today, guys. So keep an eye on this triangle today. Tesla is not out of the game yet on a Friday, right? This thing can definitely can do its thing if it wants to, right? So I'm gonna tighten this up a little bit here and see if it gives us a symmetrical triangle to look at intraday today. So watch this for a pop of this triangle one way or the other with some volume and see which way it goes. NVIDIA, good stuff right here. We had some members that bought the dip on this one for a nice push up right there for a good move, and now it's retracing, kind of working its way back down again. So let's see how that goes there into the rest of the day. But kind of interesting on NVIDIA. I really like what it did on the daily chart. I liked yesterday's move. Now we're kind of retracing back there a little bit here, so it doesn't help that the market is weak, right? So that's the one thing. Sometimes a stock can't stand out against the headwinds of a weak Nasdaq, right? So we've got that going on there. Microsoft is another one that we pointed out as a short idea here this morning too. Again, this is just a perfect one too because it related with the TikTok news as well. So check out the retrace here from this morning, right? So you got this, right? So just over the 618, but upper shadows off it and the ADMA on that one. So nice move on Microsoft there. Okay, so good stuff. We got a couple chart requests coming in. So we've got Nikola. So let's take a look at Nikola here. So Nikola looked like it was going to try to move here this morning, but it's really just kind of tight within the range right here. Still below, or still double inside days so far, below the ADMA on Nikola. DKNG, again, this thing's been pretty hot recently, and it looks like it pushed up again a little bit over those highs. So still running hot on DKNG. Let's see if it eventually gives us a viable pullback on that one instead of chasing the momentum. NEO, nice gap up today. Again, can't complain with yesterday's pullback that we were looking for. And then Kodak. So Kodak was a crazy move yesterday into the close, right? It looked really, really bullish. It's actually up a little bit here this morning, but it was mostly from the gap up. So if you're in that from yesterday at the close, good place to take profit here as it's chopping around right now. So let's see. It looked like it was waiting on some news, but now it's just kind of all over the place with high volatility. Beyond, there's an interesting one. So Beyond, I tell you, I don't know how many times I got to say it, like that Beyond is just, it will break your heart, right? So it keeps on working its way back up. It does these 3-day breakouts and it pulls back, right? So this is on our short radar for the most part going in today because that's just how Beyond acts. Right, and then last but not least, Zoom. This is a good one too. Again, still working its way up here. Nice bounce off of the ADMA yesterday, and trying to work its way up here this morning. So good stuff there, guys. I hope everybody has a wonderful rest of your trading day. Be careful out there with the witch out there, and remember, 3 to 4 o'clock is quad witching hour. So lots of shenanigans at that time. During that time, be careful, right? Because brokers sometimes can market you out of your positions on your options because everything's closing out. Really, really a good time to consider next week's options if you see a good setup. All right, guys. Hope everybody has a great rest of your afternoon. We'll catch you guys in the market wrap. Stay healthy out there. And remember your risk first and stay safe so you can stay in the game. And I'll talk to you guys soon.